excited to continue telling this story with all of you, and I hope you all enjoy it. Because we haven't done it in a little while, I figure we can maybe go around and do introductions again. Any sort of information about your social media that you want to share, feel free. If you just want to say, hi, I'm character name, you can also do that. So I will go ahead and start. My name is Elizabeth. You can find me on Twitter at ElizabethC77. You can find me on Discord as Elizabeth Joy. And yeah, I should have figured out an order for this before I started talking.
Let's go to Leon, and then we can just kind of go through the order on the screen.
Why don't I do that? So hey, I'm Fettuccini. I usually will have a face cam here. Unfortunately, due to the way my Wi-Fi situation is working out, I can do audio fine. Video decides to tank it all to hell. So we're doing audio only. But I usually am over at on Fettuccini on most social media platforms. I do a lot of streaming and a lot of just other random shit right now. So it's kind of up in the air. I'm doing some rescheduling of stuff, but the dust should be settling soon. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. Do the things. I missed you guys.
The Day Terror. Zagar.
Welcome back, Fettuccini. So good to have you and the Day Terror back in the fold. My name is Chris Geary. You can find me on Twitter at the handle beneath my name. I'm also over on Soul Bear RPG's channel on Sunday evenings, starting at 5 p.m. Eastern. You can find me there in another homebrew campaign. And every Monday night here for the Andari Isles, playing Zagar, the prettiest pirate.
Kira. Kaya.
Hi, I'm Eok. You can find me on Twitter at Eok4714. You can find me here on Mondays now, playing Kia, the Kalish Dharma.
Mr. Dink.
Arthur. I'm at Abraid Arthur. I don't tweet really much of anything, but feel free to follow. You'll get pictures of my cats, most likely. Here Monday
They're
nights
really pretty.
playing Dink. What? Oh,
They're really pretty.
They are gorgeous, and they know it. But yeah, playing Dink, the combat-obsessed pirate person. Yeah.
Johan.
Hi, I'm Asphere51 on Twitter. You'll also not really find me tweeting anything except for random science and TTRPG stream stuff. You'll find me here on Monday nights, and I'm playing Johan Sarevi, the person who you'll find out more, but tends to generally like lightning-y things.
Nothing wrong with that. And I'm trying to fix my camera, but I am Juxon. Also known as Cubby Blue for Life. You can find me here on Monday nights. Other than that, you can find me at Cubby Blue for Life on Twitch or Cubby Blue for Life on Twitter. All random nonsense. A lot of Cubs and sports news if you are into that. But other than that, that's really about it for me.
Alrighty. So recap of what happened last week. The Day Terror Leon got poofed away by one of the wolves. And just to let you all know, I did actually run a mini session during the week. And what happened was Leon had an experience very similar to Kia in that he found himself in this study with this man who looked to be in his mid to late 30s and had a conversation about how this individual can control time. That's why he's been able to live for thousands of years. And this individual offered Leon the chance to go back in time and fix something that Leon regrets. So that is what happened with that. During the fight with these 6 wolves, who obviously have some sort of dark magic about them, because you can knock them to the ground and kill them, and then they can reanimate and attack you again. Kia, who can hear telepathic communication, overheard something between this wolf and its master, and in doing so, they decided to try and make a connection with the wolf to attempt to wrest control of this telepathic connection. And as mentioned previously, found themselves in a study, had a conversation with this strange man who offered to answer questions about their family. And then before they could ask any questions, the wolf was killed by one of their allies. And eventually all 5 of the wolves left because one of them poofed with Leon and did not return. All 5 of them.
Uh-oh. She froze.
Oh no.
Shall we all freeze in solidarity?
I mean, I think I'll have the easiest time here.
Yeah, I think Leon wins that one.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
I am not Liam O'Brien.
Oh no. Five. Oh
Should,
no.
Ooh.
I don't understand. I'm so sorry. Sorry. Okay. Go for it.
I was
There you
gonna say Zagar probably would.
Sorry about that. Technical issues seem to plague me on Monday night. I don't know where exactly I cut off, but we finished last week with the battle had ended and we were kind of all decompressing, and Kia had said we need to talk. So that's where we're gonna pick it up.
Talking is great, but I got a question. Aren't we missing somebody?
Are we? Are we? Wait,
I think
I suppose we are.
Partially why we need to talk, I think.
Leon's muted, by the way.
Leon's not in this scene.
Almost like
He
I'm
hasn't come
not
back.
He's going to be with us in spirit, at least for a little bit, I think.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Leon has still not come back.
Does anybody know
Oh no, I'm
what...
sure he's just hiding really well.
Does
Are
anybody
we
know
sure?
kind of where Leon went? Anybody?
Well, Kia
I'm-
called this meeting, so Kia, do you know where the Day Terror went?
I'm assuming I can't feel Leon's mind. Assuming. Because he's not here.
Correct.
No, I don't. Partially why I called the meeting.
Do we think some of the Shadow Dyers took him? Yes, I came up with that just now. I'm sorry. It's a good thing. Seriously though, do we think they took him? Or something took him? Or he just died? Or he's still hiding? Like,
He's the Day Terror. I'm sure he's hiding and just waiting to come back out. Zagar will then begin calling for the Day Terror.
I can't feel
All right.
please call for him in an operatic, please?
If I could actually pull that off, I'd be happy to do that on stream for you.
Okay, Zagar, roll a perception check.
I'm actually perceptive. That'd be a 22.
You can't find him.
Can I see if I can? I'd like to see if I can find where he last was that I know of. Like, do I remember at least where he was when I last saw him before? I guess propose the fog went up. I guess.
I mean, you were.
Because
I mean,
did
he
see
was
him before
definitely there,
Yeah.
and then he stealthed and he touched each one of your cheeks.
I remember trying to
awkwardly as
punch
he was
him.
stealthed.
Yeah, I remember
Yes,
trying to punch
You tried to punch him, and after that, you don't know where he
Basically,
went.
my point is I want to see where I tried to punch him.
Oh yeah. I mean, you remember where you started the battle.
Yeah, and
So
then
you can.
now that the
Yes.
fog's gone, I want to see if I can find where he actually was, and see if we can start figuring out where that leads.
I mean,
Okay.
you could just
Um.
run out and start looking for him.
Yeah. Whoever wants to start looking for him can roll a perception check.
Perception or investigation or? Well, oh, sorry, I just heard.
No, that's fine. No, I'm gonna say No, I'm gonna say perception.
14.
Okay.
15.
Okay.
Oop, wrong dice.
Not great. 15.
Okay.
20. Not natural.
Okay. So. Oh, Zagar, did you want to roll?
Oh no, I'm actually regaling everyone with the tale of the stealth of the Day Terror and how this is not uncommon.
Valid. Okay. So Kia and Jackson, okay, so wait, backtrack. Jackson, you find where he started the fight, and there's no footprints from that spot. There's you being a ranger generally can find something if someone has moved through a terrain.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
I did
Literally.
roll that ridiculous self, didn't I?
True. Okay.
You rolled a 37, so
That sounds right.
It's gonna appear in
Jackson
another
does not know what
campaign.
stealth to roll.
Hmm.
All Jackson knows is that there's not a trace of anything around this pair of footprints where you started this fight.
So, what I'm going to do with that information is I'm going to literally walk over to that spot and, like, just tell them, these are his footprints. There's nothing else.
I mean,
He literally disappeared.
I mean, if you look at my footprints, they stopped in the middle of the fight because I started flying around. Did we know if he can fly?
He does have wings.
He's the Day Terror. Of course he can fly.
It's true.
But did anybody see him? But see, I was also up in a tree, so I did not see anything fly above that fog.
Were you?
I was in the tree the whole time.
I was about to say I didn't see you, but then again, fog. So, yeah.
I was up in a tree the whole time when they came in. I saw nothing above the fog.
Just...
So Kia, when Jackson says these are his footprints and then they don't go anywhere, that just confirms even more what you really already knew between your experience during the battle and the fact that you can't sense him at all. It just kind of confirms that sense of, oh, he's gone.
He's guys, you're not gonna find him here.
Well, yeah, he's very stealthy, and he's not here, so we're not going to find him here. But
No,
we should. Are you suggesting a specific spot to look because you know, or you're just saying, well, he's not here?
I'm saying I think he got taken somewhere. This requires.
And
Flying thing, or by something that teleported him?
Jackson, are you still standing near his footprint?
Yeah, I haven't moved yet.
Make a dexterity.
Make a
Save.
dexterity save. Dexterity
I
save.
like where this is going.
Oh wait, there. No.
Bowling for Rangers.
9.
Okay. Leon, you go from being in the study,
Mm-hmm.
sitting by the fire, leaning forward intently, to crashing into Justin.
Yes.
I'm gonna,
I'm
Okay.
gonna say
do I get the opportunity to maybe reduce the impact of said, crashing into him?
oh,
Also, I'm also not moving. I'm gonna have to figure that out later.
right. You literally
Don't
like
teleport into him. You're going to have a transporter accident.
you like fall from like a couple feet off the ground, and he happens to be standing where you were teleported back to. So it's not so much, I guess, that you fall on him as you just like space can only hold one of you.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. So I'm roll a d4.
Two.
Okay, Jackson, you take 2 damage from the impact, and you just kind of like, yeah, all of a sudden you're both trying to occupy the same space, and
See?
Jackson,
No.
you end up moving.
I fall to the ground.
Well, he really was being really stealthy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, stand up from where I've kind of
Seriously though, where were you?
braced myself. Look at Juxon, who's down on the ground. Just blink for a second, and then offer a hand to help Juxon up because he's on the ground.
Seriously though, were you like casting invisibility, or were you actually somewhere else based on what Kia said? Probably going to see somewhere else. So where somewhere else? And Kia, how did you know this? And
He is
what?
just straight marching up to Leon, and as soon as like he is like picked Jackson up, is gonna be like, we need to talk.
You don't say.
Yeah, they said that already. But now that you're here, we can have a whole group meeting. I think probably. I don't know what's
No.
going on. No.
We need to talk, and I'm pointing at Leon and like
I agree.
Is there something you want to share with the rest of the group? Would you like to share with the rest of the class, please?
Share with the rest of the class. I'm gonna finish making sense of what I just experienced, which was something I don't think I've ever had somebody tell me before, on top of the entire experience itself. So I'm gonna process it for a second. Yeah, I'm guessing you might shed some more insight on this. So we should probably talk.
yes.
The short story is, the guy that just woke up, the asshole, basically dragged me into his study, said, hey, here's a really amazing thing, and then threw me at Jackson. No. Did we lose her?
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh.
Betsy.
He has stolen the DM. Oh no.
Yeah. Next victim of the. Yeah, basically.
So just to get this straight, you and I'm assuming Kia, since they apparently have former knowledge. You two have talked to Anatoly?
Believe that's who I talked to.
It's
didn't quite catch his name.
an assumption.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yes,
I
it
will.
is.
I will say that it's very obvious from Leon's.
I'm just out of point. I just want to say we should make sure whether is frozen completely or not.
Yeah.
All right, I am switching back to the be right back.
Cool.
Can we go back?
Oh
Yes.
no.
Yeah, we're good. We're back.
Okay. This time it's not technical issues, it's internet issues. My Wi-Fi just disconnected itself. Thank you all so much for being patient with me. I just like to keep you all in suspense. Just kidding. So Leon, you were saying I need to process, and then that's where I disappeared.
Did we lose Leon?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yes, I had to process a very interesting proposition from Anatoly.
Wait. Proposition.
A very interesting proposition.
If our conversations were anything similar, which I'm assuming they are, he offered you something, but didn't tell you the price.
Okay, this is sounding interesting.
Yes, more guaranteed a change to what I would consider one of my more rough spots in my life.
Can I give a piece of advice here?
You mean you can certainly try. I may or may not completely ignore it.
That's fine. Most people do. So, honestly, my experience with these sorts of things, when someone offers you an ability or an idea or power, gift or anything, and they don't tell you the price, that's usually because the price is so great they don't want you to know until after you've accepted to pay it.
Oh, yeah, of course. That's naturally how they work.
Yes.
So,
And also the gift is usually comes with a lot of back bits as well, so it's not really a gift so much as a punishment.
I mean, depending on the outcome.
Like, you could get wings, but they could grow out of your back painfully and rip your skin off. Or you could,
They did that the first time. So.
That's what I'm saying. I'm giving an example from your previous experience that I'm assuming you've had to give you an idea of what would be happening in the future.
I mean, you get used to it after the second or third time. Especially now. I mean, back before it was actually worse.
Okay, better example. They replaced your skeleton with a giant metal wood thing somehow, and then enchant it so that it moves and shoots knives out of your hands. Sounds good, but it's actually really, really painful from what I've heard.
I'll take your word for it.
I once knew a guy with a knife for a hand, but it wasn't because he had anything implanted in him.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. Don't ask about it.
Either way.
Point is, we need to know about your conversation so we can start moving against what they want. Because based on how they phrase things to you, that might give away what they wanted.
It's true. He wanted to offer me his ability to manipulate time to correct one of something that I wish I could change.
When he offered it to you, did he say, once I gain this ability, or that I already have it?
That he has it and he can use it at will, which is why he's been alive so long.
Okay, that means that he's going to use that for something. The question was basically whether or not he wanted to use it, or whether he wanted to gain that ability. So we know he has it, which is good to know. Know he has the ability for psychic. Huh.
He offered me information.
Well, I mean, suppose that someone with time travel ability would be sticking around long enough to gain info to some access to some pretty interesting secrets, I'm sure.
It's not a secret, just information.
Either way.
Could be interesting.
Here's a question. If he has time manipulation, why hasn't he used it already to fix his previous pseudo-loss?
Because he hasn't lost.
That's
Then the key... Exactly. So the question is, what exactly did he have to wait for to get to be here for? If he didn't want to do something back... If he couldn't do something back then why did he have to wait so long?
To outlive the competition?
That's not a good enough reason. If you have time manipulation, you can mess with the competition so they never existed, or so that they die earlier, or you could. There's clearly something now which has to be what his goal is. So, let's start thinking on what is. Well, let's talk what your experience is. What I was going to say is we could start figuring out what's specifically around now that could be a relevant goal. Then, yeah, but back to your specific experiences. I thought that would be a good thing to think about.
How did you get there? I know how I got there. How did you get there?
I had a wolf jump at me, and then the entire plane shifted. So, it's the least what I can recall. It might be something along those lines of when I saw some daylight, I think, also. But yeah, it was. I don't think it was intentional because he seemed very shocked that I had shown up.
Was it unintentional with Yukia?
But
No, mine was very deliberate.
but when
On his side or yours?
Both? I did not mean to go there. The wolves, they were like puppets. They were being manned by him. I tried to cut the strings. When I tried to cut the strings, I got redirected.
no, here, Leon, when you went there, you went stealth.
Oh no, I went stealth, and then I didn't stealth my way into this. I didn't accidentally like sneak into another plane. As cool as that fucking sounds, which
I understand, but when you were stealth when this happened, so none of us saw you actually disappear.
Yes. Yeah, I don't think any of you guys would have seen me. So it was during the fog. I think I had stepped out of it for a moment, and when I stepped back in, or I remember there being the daylight. Somebody cast daylight, and that's when the world tilted, and I ended up where I was.
And you didn't just have a bad reaction to the daylight because you're day terror?
Surprisingly, day terrors. I don't think I do. I don't. I mean, I feel like I'd have an aversion to daylight in general if that was the case, because the daylight spell just floods a place with bright daylight, right? Am I not remembering that?
I mean, it's technically concentrated light, but sure.
Cool. Yeah, I don't think it's not because not because of the day terror, but which I think it wouldn't send me to another realm. I think it would put me in some sort of weakened state.
And he wasn't threatened at all by either of you appearing in his study? He didn't...
He definitely was caught off guard.
He anticipated.
Any inkling of a desire to outright kill him, I would have had at least a, second. I would have had the upper hand, but I decided to not, because it still sounds foolish.
I believe the words that were said when I was brought there was, "I wondered when you would do this."
I was told, I didn't expect any other visitors here today, and I'm like, well, good. I'm here now.
Any other? Wait, any other? And you weren't there when he was there, correct? You weren't there in the same time.
No, there was no other visitors when I was there, at least.
Had he already been there when you were there? Or had they already been there when you were there?
From my understanding is she was there before he was. Because he already he's like, I wasn't expecting any other visitors today.
Yeah, but that's my point, is that if they were there before, then how would they know that he got trapped? Because they were there before.
I don't think it matters if he can control time.
Yeah, but the point is that usually, I suppose you're right, but he'd have to. Was this like an outside of time bubble sort of thing? If that's a thing, like I'm not really under. It's just an interesting concept where you have two people arriving in the same location at different points in a non-existent time, neither seeing each other and both having existed before the other.
I'm more interested in what the place looked like.
Really? You have two friends enter an extra time bubble, and you want to know the decor?
Yeah, it was very well made. It was like, wasn't there like red?
If you know what it looks like, then you know a lot about the person.
That's a fair point, actually.
Things
Good catch.
reflect their personality, and then on top of that, if they could see out windows, we might be able to locate them. It would speed up this whole trip, and then the Day Terror and I can sneak in and cut his throat.
Do you think you could sneak into an extra-dimensional time corridor?
You
I mean, I
don't
managed
know
to
those
sneak into
extra
one.
Whatever dimension is, I've heard it used a lot.
I've done it once. I forgot about it.
But it's not really the dimension. It's
I mean, it's the size, yes, but I mean, dimensional thing.
He could still be in our dimension on our same plane. It's the fact that he was able to somehow pull them from where they were currently to where he is.
Well,
but there had to be a time aspect if they both arrived in the same location, each before the other. You can't have two people arriving at different times before each other and neither having been there first.
He didn't take.
Yeah, well, I also was under the impression I had no record. From what I can recall, what I saw before I was, before I tilted, I hadn't made any kind of eye contact with Kia to see if she was also, actually physically transported there.
They
were transported there, so I don't know about that.
From what you said, Kia said that they knew that you were there somehow, and you said that he wasn't expecting any other visitors.
I made an assumption. I made an assumption because I could no longer feel Leon's mind, and I had just had an experience where my mind was currently not where my body was. Therefore, when Jackson said, "Hey, look, track stop here," I could connect the dots.
But your body didn't actually move.
No, not that I'm aware of.
So that's the difference. Your mind went, but mentally you were there. Physically, you were still on the battlefield. Leon,
so how did you get that out of?
Physically went there.
I would like to make an insight check on Kia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kia, are you wanting to?
Depends on what do you want to know? What are you trying to figure out?
Is that actually how you found out? Because basically I'm thinking how would you, first of all, you're saying that you were there, you as an inference, but your mind only went, so how would you infer that because the tracks were gone when you were left your body there?
Kia's not lying about that. Kia's made the assumption that because Leon does not normally do the brain thing, Leon would not just be standing there doing the brain thing. And since Kia does the brain thing regularly, they were like, this might be a thing where I'm only here because I tried to start this and not because I wasn't, you know what I mean?
No, honestly, I really, really don't, but I'd love to find out eventually. But
So-
sure. All right. Okay.
No roll needed because
Yeah.
they weren't trying to hide anything.
Okay.
It really honestly was an inference.
All right.
So what's our move? I mean,
We keep going.
Where? What?
So
This,
I feel like we need more info on that study.
Um,
Before we make a solid move on it, or make a move to cut the beast off out of his head.
Johan, make a history check.
It's not great. It's only a 15.
Okay, so you've been kind of mulling over this. He can manipulate time. Why did he wait for 2,000 years? What? It doesn't make sense.
Why us?
If you can manipulate time, why did he wait 2,000 years? Why did this group of people end up thrown into this almost haphazardly? And there's this something tingling at the back of your brain about where you grew up. There's something there,
Hey, Johan.
but you can't quite grasp it.
Oh, that would work. Never mind. Now, would that be a different plane that he's on, though? Or
I think we're gonna have to. Maybe we should make the trip to the hags first.
this, all of this is alarming, but there's more. Before I attempted to cut the strings, I figured out that they were being puppeteered because I overheard something that I was probably not meant to overhear. The wolves, they were like, they could talk to the man in the study, and he could talk back. And what I heard, summarized, was basically, we found them, they don't know what we are, or how to defeat us. Thank you for allowing us to return to this plane. And then, in response, I heard the voice of the man in the study say, "Very good. My reward is waiting when you bring me his head."
whose head?
Gonna
That-
guess your friend.
Maybe. Yeah.
Midicus, who has been just quietly observing this whole conversation, as you say that, Kia just kind of goes, "Oh, no. Well, I'm fairly certain he meant my head."
Well, it's yours is the one with the royal blood, right?
Yes. Mine is also apparently, according to the legends, the one that can access something that he needs. Fortunately, we don't have more information than that. As fantastic of record keeping as the Rangers have done, it has been 2,000 years.
I know someone that can help has perfect memory from 2,000 years. Hey, Zagar,
Yes.
could you have a nice little chat with your sword, please?
depends. Are you gonna inundate me with more questions than I care to listen to?
At some point, yes. Over time, I will absolutely inundate you with questions. But for now, there's just a couple that I think we'd all like answered, which
You get
clearly...
You get two, and then you hush until I get the answers. That's it.
Fine. But clearly there's something...
I don't hear any questions.
I'm not asking questions. I'm telling you that this friend just clearly said that there's records that they don't have from 2,000 years ago, and you have someone from 2,000 years ago on your sword. Talk.
Would you mind if I tagged along to the conversation?
This time, yes.
Okay.
I think she'd be the one to ask the questions because she knows what to ask more than Johan does.
Agree. I wasn't planning on asking questions until much later, as I said.
Thing's just gonna put a hand on Zagar's shoulder and just sort of pat him and be like, "It's all good. Just breathe."
Zagar's just gonna turn around and walk about 15 feet away from everybody. He'll find a nice spot to sit down. The sword, lay it across his lap. And he's just gonna breathe for a while.
All right.
After that time passes, he'll then see what's going on.
Okay. Do you say anything, or do you just try to make contact?
He's very, very new at this still.
Right.
Concentrate really hard on the word hello.
Okay. So after you've kind of calmed down and just kind of let things settle, your eyes drift closed, and you hear her voice. Hello, Zagar.
Antonia, we seem to have a problem.
I certainly will help in whatever ways I can.
And then I will give her a rough paraphrase of the documents that Miticus was trying to refer to.
Okay. She says, well, yes, I am terribly sorry that I can't answer, but I do believe, unfortunately, your friend was mistaken about the timeline of when I was alive. You see, I was the wife of the first sovereign, which means, just kind of like pauses for a minute, and obviously like calculating, which means, unfortunately, I put my essence into the sword about 8,000 years prior to the encounters that would help you. Unfortunately, I am afraid my knowledge is dreadfully out of date, even for the 2,000 years before now, which you are asking. I do believe that you will at least find some answers in this blood vault that you are seeking. I believe you may also find some answers if you go at some point to speak to the witches on Abaco. I believe they will have the knowledge to answer, the question about what he had to wait for. Again, I'm very sorry, I can't help you more than that.
No need to
Anything that is
apologize.
history to you didn't happen for me, so until you found me.
No need to apologize. I appreciate what you've done so far in all the different ways. And, yes, that's about it. Thank you.
Of course.
And he will put the sword away, collect himself, and wander back. And just turn to the group and say, Antonia is the first queen of the Andari Islands. She was not alive at the time that you seek.
Okay, but she's been in the sword for however long, right?
Doesn't mean she's seen everything, though.
I would say it doesn't give her full access to all of the knowledge of all the time that she was been in the
It's
sword.
true, I suppose.
I feel like it's one of those things that she needs a user to be made privy to time.
Just figured it was a good try. Did you ask her about Antonia? Anatoly? At all?
I've already talked to her about Anatoly before, yes.
But we know about the time thing now.
Anatoly was not at his full power when she knew him. I'm pretty sure that you learn about time probably later. That seems a little bit more powerful than beginning.
Yeah, it is. Sorry, I don't have all the info on all this. I only have some of it, so I'm stealing my way through it.
Odd question. Can I recall what kind of books were on the study's walls?
Ooh. Interesting. Is there a check to remember things?
Probably history, I think.
Yeah.
I remember it was a general... Oh, okay, sorry.
Well, would that actually be considered
Or did
Arcana?
you-
I remember it being a general intelligence for memory, but it could probably be any of them, I assume.
Or it could be an
Would it be
investigation.
Arcana because he was sitting literally right next to the bookshelf?
Investigation would probably be the best if you're adding a skill to it.
Or perception.
Possibly perception, yeah. But if you're looking for intelligence
Yeah.
is one tied to that stat.
Yeah, because it's not like you're trying to remember a history that you learned or whatever. I think I'd go with. No, I feel like this should be a perception. Like, how perceptive were you in that moment? So yeah, go ahead and go perception. I'm gonna say with advantage because he was frightened of you.
Well, cool. One better. 19.
Okay. What languages do you speak?
Let me double check. Celestial, Common, and Primordial.
Oh, yeah, you're the right person to ask about those books. And I will type this up and send it to you as well. There were several books in Primordial. Most of them were about like how to what words? Sorry. Like how to influence people through words as opposed to through actual magical spells.
How to make friends and influence people by Primordial, Joe?
I was going for that without actually saying that. Yes, pretty much. The Primordial version of how to win friends and influence people.
Deception.
Some of them were about like summoning spells, like summoning a familiar, but doing it through dark magic as opposed to like your regular, like your more friendly version of summoning a familiar. Things like there's one called the language of negotiating with demons. There's so it's just kind of a lot along those lines. And then like those are all in one section of the bookshelf. And then the next section is surprisingly enough in Celestial. There's not very many books in that section. The gist of them is what you get from reading the titles is how to avoid celestial beings, essentially. And then there's a couple in languages that you're not familiar with.
Okay.
But the vast majority of them are in Primordial.
Okay. Most of the library of the books in the study were primordial in nature. How to convince people to do things without the use of magic. Other things, making deals with demons, how to summon them, stuff of that nature. Also,
wouldn't you be considered some sort of a demon?
Technically, I'm more of a celestial being. A fallen celestial, but a celestial.
Kaya, what are you?
I mean, this coming from me, I feel like that's very forward, unless they want to answer, of course.
Side note, Kia doesn't really know, do they?
Nope.
Like, no idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else was on the shelf?
Outside of the primordial, there were some celestial books on avoiding them, which might add to the reason I surprised him. And others in probably more of the more common languages, probably Elven or Draconic or something like that. I don't unfortunately read those, so I don't.
Can I try to and remember if any of the books were like in Quarry or Elvish specifically?
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and make a
perception
I'm
check.
totally struggling. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, which one did I say?
19.
Okay, so you do not speak Primordial? Is that correct?
No, I speak
Okay.
Celestial, Common, Elvish, and Quarry.
So you see this big section of books in a language you don't know. You see the one in Celestial about how to avoid celestial beings. And then you do not see any other ones that you are familiar with. There are not any in Elvish or sorry, it's just so you see just like 3 or 4 books regarding how to avoid celestial.
Okay.
So, I'm obviously not, a magician of any kind, but aren't there things called, like, wards or protections? I mean, if you two just showed up in this guy's study without any warning, does that mean he doesn't have any kind of protection?
I think he allowed Kia.
Hey.
I was invited.
Yes,
And
they
then
were
he
invited.
snuck in behind.
Move your hand.
I'm the one that just kind of showed up.
Good night.
Although Dink does have a good point. I mean, if based on the books you've just listed, if there was anything he would have protection against, it'd be Celestials. And you apparently just got into a problem.
He might have. So what you said was you were jumped by one of the puppets, and then you got taken there, correct?
The last thing I kind of recall is being next to a wolf and them reaching out for me as the daylight cast, and as they, dissipated into that other form, that's when the world tilts.
You were probably dragged along with the wolf. It went back to where it came from, and it was holding on to you.
Right? In theory, that's how that could work, but does that mean that bypasses how... It does bring up the question: does he have wards? Because that probably isn't. There are probably people that could, and maybe would try to exploit that. The jumping on the back of something else that is returning to its plane.
Yeah, because that just means we have to find more of these things, and then each of us gets on one and kills it.
Yeah, well, not even kills it. You have to cast some daylight.
No, that too. Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, yeah. I mean, he could very well.
He's aware of the problem.
Having seen this happen already. Like, did he seem like he knew how you got there?
Not any more than I did.
Well, I'm all game for hunting down these things and killing them just to experiment.
I maybe plan a bit more before we just, ride in all full dog, as it were. And, I feel like there's probably some more info we could get.
Well, we're supposed to go to the vault anyways, that's
And
where we're
more
headed.
equipment.
Speaking of, what time of day/night is it right now?
It's night still.
The battle happened during second watch, so it's getting into third watch.
So
A decently
Okay,
long
we should
battle. It
prob-
happened near the end of second watch, so you're getting maybe like 3 hours from dawn, 4 hours ish. So if you want a full rest, you're not going to leave right at dawn. In other words.
Well, do we value rest, or is time more?
No, we definitely want to rest. I think. I mean, we were all just in a battle. We should probably, whatever we're doing, we should probably be, fully rested and prepared and ready.
I do have something I might do while I sleep.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I've used over half my spells, so that long rest would probably be ideal.
Let's utilize it for those of us that need it.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So you all go off to your various places of rest.
We'll go on watch since he doesn't have spells that have to reset.
Okay.
Yeah, I was saying we'll also
And,
probably stay up and mull over what Leon was told, and kind of hold his broken short sword and look at its hilt.
Sounds good. Are there any conversations that happen during watch, or anything that anyone wants to try to do while sleeping?
I mean,
Yes.
it's gonna try to do it again, because, that was
Okay.
interesting, and there are
That was
answers.
not what I thought you were going to say. Okay. So, how do you try?
I'll be right back. I have an issue.
Yep.
He is gonna hold on to the necklace and think about Eliana. And just,
Okay.
real hard. trying to replicate the same thing they did last time,
Okay.
only instead of the flower crown, using the necklace as a point of reference.
Okay. Go ahead and I cannot remember what I had you roll last time. Have you roll? I need to find that note. Do you remember what I had you roll?
I think it was. I think it was you had me roll like a percentile die, and then you had me roll a
Yeah.
d20, and then
Yep. Thank you. So roll your percentile dice. Roll both of them.
49.
Okay. And then go ahead and roll a d20.
Uh, 16.
Okay, so it takes you a bit of time. You kind of are like, you're doing that. I don't know if you've experienced this before, but where you're trying to like unwind and not think about something, which then causes you to think about it, and which causes you to not unwind, etc. Vicious circle. So you're kind of going through a little bit of that, of trying not to think about your weird experience with Anatoly so you can focus on Ileana. And so it takes a little bit longer than it did last time, but you do end up back in that same spot again. And she's there, but she's a little bit kind of far off in the distance and doesn't notice you right away.
Okay. I'm gonna, like, approach, but, like, make sure I leave distance. You know what I mean? Like, make sure I am in sight when I am approaching, and, like, I'm not, like, how you approach a scared cat.
So you notice as you get a little bit closer that she's not alone. There's another fairy there with her, and they are, again, their backs are towards you, and you can hear kind of a murmured conversation that you can't quite pick up yet.
I'm gonna be. I guess I'll. Are they facing the same direction?
Yes.
I'm gonna try and get closer and not. I'm gonna try and sneak up, but not like sneak up behind them. Just sneak up to the point where I can listen in on what's going on right now.
Okay. All right. Roll a stealth.
Yep. Ooh. 22.
Okay. So you kind of start approaching. You hear Ileana saying, well, my dear, I can't say that I'll ever understand the way of the material plane. Do things that I, for one, will never understand. But it's important that we remember that their perspectives are quite a bit shorter than ours. And this other fairy goes, But Mother, why do they hurt each other? Why would I don't understand. And Ileana goes, to be perfectly honest, I don't understand it either. It's part of why we locked ourselves from the realm for so long, because it was starting to negatively impact our home here. And this other fairy goes, and like her voice starts shaking a little bit, and she goes, You mean the trees? And Liana goes, yes, dear. They started to chop down our forest. And go ahead and roll another stealth.
Ooh, that's way worse. 8.
Ileana rolled a nat 20.
Oh God.
So you gonna say all of a sudden you kind of stumble a little bit. You're in this big field and it's not really quite even ground, and you kind of go as you catch yourself, and Ileana whirls around and she does a she whirls around and grabs this other fairy and stands in front of this other fairy.
Yeah, there's definitely hands caught in the cookie jar, sort of
Yeah.
hands up in the air like a
Oh, yeah. Oh, you gave me such a fright.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say.
That's quite all right. You're here again. And the other fairy kind of does a little peeping around from behind her mom's skirt, kind of a thing. Mother, who's this? And Ileana says, don't worry, Susanna. This is Kia. And Susanna goes, hi. Obviously a very young fairy. And
hi.
Ileana just kind of pats her on the back and is like, all right, here, run along, back to your lessons. And Susanna skips off. And I'm dreadfully sorry about that. We were just having a conversation. We've been seeing some of what has been happening in your plane, and well, Susanna is growing up, and I thought it would be time to start her education about some of the darker parts of your plane.
Fair enough. I'm here because I had a question relating to the plane things, actually. Earlier today, I guess for me, or tonight, earlier, a group of my me and a group of my companions were attacked by creatures that seemed to be puppeteered by who I'm assuming is Anatoly, because anyways, the part that I'm asking about is, can you take someone to a plane against their will?
Not normally, but at least not how we travel through planes. It has to be a willing individual. However, I do believe I witnessed what it is you're referring to. There are individuals on your plane of existence This used to be very common back when travel between the planes was more common. Individuals who have gained sufficient access to magic that they are able to unlock the secret, I guess would be how to say it, of what's called a wizard's den. It is technically a planar pocket, but it can be accessed from the material plane as if walking into a room. So an individual who has access to a wizard's den can make a door appear, and you can just walk right in, like walking anywhere else on your plane. So I believe what you are referring to was the wizard's den, because of how close to the material plane they are. The rules are a little bit different, if I can call them rules. People can get around the rules of magic all sorts of ways. But it could be possible to transport someone to a wizard's den without their permission or their desire to do that.
That's useful information. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm glad I could help a little bit more this time.
He made me an offer while I was there, and I don't know what to think of it.
All right. My instinct says be very careful. Offers can be dangerous things.
I don't intend on accepting. But I'm not the only one he made an offer to.
Okay. So, someone else experienced wizard stuff?
My companion was the one who was physically taken to the wizard's den against, well, he didn't intend to go.
Oh.
I didn't either, but I didn't physically appear there. I was psychic things. It's weird. My body was still on the battlefield, but I was having a conversation in a place that was really confusing, actually. I don't quite understand.
Wish there was a way for me to talk to your companion. I have so many questions about that. So he was. I want to make sure I understand, so to aid in my research. You said he, against his will, was physically transported to a wizard's den. Huh.
As far as I'm aware.
That certainly is the first time I've ever heard of anything like that happening. I am at a loss for words. I have an idea, but I don't want to commit to it just yet, because it is not a decision that I can make myself. If you would be willing, and if my eldest daughter would be willing, and she kind of hesitates for a moment as she says this. If all parties are agreeable, I would be willing to send my eldest daughter with you to your plane. It is difficult for me to be able to help you and to guide you while being here on this plane and you being on your plane. It limits the amount of communication we can have. It limits the ability that I have to find answers for you. I will definitely be in touch with you. I will, of course, have to talk to my daughter about it. Go ahead and make an insight check.
Yes. Ooh, that one's better. Nice. 25.
Oh, that's really good.
Yes.
She is saying all of this and is very, it seems like she's very there's an internal struggle going on as she's saying it. It's like she's offering it, but not really wanting to offer it. And I am sending you a message on Discord.
Okay.
But yeah, she's almost starting to get emotional, but she's just barely hanging on to it.
That
yeah.
is a serious proposition. Correct me if I'm wrong. That wouldn't end well for your daughter, would it?
No. And she kind of lets that facade crumble a little bit. And you see a mother. But she goes, "You're right, which is why I myself cannot commit to this course of action, because it is not my decision to make, as I said. I do know that you are going to face a powerful, manipulative, deceitful, proud, and very skilled mage. And I know that there is an object that he is seeking that only someone of the Fae can access. And the only way for one of us to travel to your room safely is through bonding. And if Anatoly gains access to the Sovereign Stone, his magic will become so powerful that we will have no chance of winning. And as much as I am a mother who wants no harm to come to my children, I want my children to live long lives. I am also a mother, and I want my children to be able to live good lives. Ultimately, it will be up to my daughter, of course, and to you, obviously. But it is something that I believe we need to consider.
If your daughter's okay with it, I would be willing, but I would like to meet her first.
Oh, of course, certainly. Yes, absolutely. I know, well, I was going to say we could set up a time, however, that may be problematic. Time flows differently here than it does on your plane. Tell you what, I will plan things so that my eldest daughter and I will be here every afternoon. It has been afternoon every time you've come, so I can hope that that means something. And hopefully we will be able to connect again soon.
Yes. I have one last question before I go.
Of course.
Changing points in a timeline wouldn't go well, would it? If it's even
No.
possible.
I can guarantee that it would have consequences unforeseen for everyone.
I figured.
And go ahead and make another percentile roll and another d20 roll.
76. And a natural 20.
So you are totally fine. And you come to in your bed. All right. Is there anything that anyone wants, or that Leon or Dink wanted to say during watch?
Dink would probably just give Leon whatever space he needed / wanted. He'll just sit over in his side of the campsite, kind of sharpening, cleaning his sword. So.
All right. So you all come to.
I don't.
I'll say. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just thinking. I'd probably spend the better part of that time listening and transitioning between looking at the broken short sword and looking around, keeping watch.
Okay.
I assume nothing happens with the sword.
Nope.
Okay.
So you all come to a bit later in the day than normal. We're just gonna full 8 hours. I'm gonna say it's maybe like 11 o'clock-ish when you all kind of get up and get going. However, you do all get the benefits of a full night's rest. And so all of your health points, all of your cells, everything are back up to where they are after a long rest. Let's see. So we all get up and get going, and Liliana is cooking up some breakfast over the fire, and yeah, I almost said the morning. 1 hour of morning and rest of the day are yours.
Do the workout, do the workout. Yep. That's.
I really hope Dink actually sees that as he works out.
He'll do a little shimmy off to his side. And then, yeah.
Nice. All right.
I will utilize my feet and give you
Cool.
all inspiration for the morning.
Do you have anything prepared?
Hold on, give me 2 seconds. I'm not finding anything ready enough, so I don't want to keep you guys waiting on it.
Okay. I'm not going to be too much of a stickler about that. You say something really inspiring, and everyone gets 10 temporary hit points.
Hey.
Any previous temporary hit points you had left are gone, though. They don't stack.
It resets to 10.
Man, that's a cool feat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, that means my NPCs get temporary hit points too. Or no, is it a limit to
only
people?
6 people. So
Limited number of people.
I pick our
Right.
captain.
There's a lot of you. I forget that I have such a big party sometimes. You all make it so easy for me. Okay. Cool. They are just, the NPCs are hardly inspired, but don't gain temporary hit points.
Yes. I also I want to read my black book from what little sleep I did get.
Okay. It is a strange combination of reliving that moment in the cave and, like, I can't say reliving because it didn't happen, but experiencing what might happen if you do go back and change it. And kind of like...
That is one that he has. Like, if anybody, like, that is something that, like, is littered throughout that book, I assume.
Right. Right. Yeah.
He just kind of chuckles at it. And
yeah. It's definitely not new. But it goes through... it's almost like every time you have that dream, it plays out differently. Mm-hmm. And it has sometimes it's good, sometimes it's neutral, sometimes it's catastrophic.
That's par for the course.
Right. So yeah.
Okay. That's all I want.
Yep. Anybody else?
Shall we sally forth?
Yep. Kia's unusually silent, but that's
normal.
Johan is slightly more silent than usual, which is very, very strange.
He's sober for once.
You are still hiking through the jungle. It's hot, and it's humid, and there's jungle noises. Liliana and Justin are keeping a watch as you're all walking, and it's a pretty boring day. So, about towards like dinner time-ish, you finally see, just about a half a day's travel off, you see these ruins. It's solid black stone, and it's like, it looks like ruins of towers and of like, walls that are, they seem pretty tall and pretty solidly constructed where they're still standing, but then like trees are growing through the walls, and like, you know, there's parts that are completely fallen down. It's clear to everyone that that is where you are headed. And so Justin, who had been right behind Andari, who was macheting away, kind of pointed out, you know, and says, we should get there by midday tomorrow. That's where we're heading. And I'm assuming you all stop for a moment to eat dinner?
Sure.
Or you can, I mean, you certainly can keep going while eating, whichever you all prefer.
I mean, if everybody else is all right with it, I'd be okay with continuing walking if you are planning on continuing.
Are we wanting to get to these ruins tonight, or are we?
I'd say we probably don't want to go there in the night. Just in general, you don't want to enter ruins in the night. It's a bad idea.
Then maybe now would be the time to stop, because we don't want to get too far and get too late before we actually set up camp.
Sure.
A good thing.
All right. And Andre again clears a swath of the trees to set up tents. If I am ever
Boom! Hulk
describing
smash!
things too quickly, and you want to have a scene, stop me. Because I almost went into, and you all have a normal night. But if anyone wants a scene to happen,
I'd like to take
interrupt me,
first
please.
watch.
Okay. Anyone want to take watch with Johan?
Dink will.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your perception check.
Not great.
Dirty 20.
13.
You hear some jungle noises, but they don't come near you. And then you go, who wants second watch?
I'll take it.
I'm gonna stay up for second watch as well.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
I have a thing I want to do third watch, so
20,
Okay. Are you staying up all night?
yes. Oh wait, no, we're going in tomorrow. I thought we were going in the next day, so in that case, no.
I got a 21.
Okay. It's a quiet night. Third watch.
I'll take it.
Kia will take third watch.
All right. Go ahead and make your checks.
Nine.
Natural 20.
Kia is a little bit distracted, thinking about her experience the night previous, and tried to
Actually,
push through.
can I go back a little?
Yes, of
Go
course.
back to that second watch.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I'm gonna actually use an action and use my primeval awareness.
Oh, ooh, nice.
So, I can only do up to, I guess, 4 minutes of this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finding this. Hold on. Where did it go? One ranger spell slot, 1 minute per level. So for 4 minutes, I want to sense if any arbitration, celestials, dragons, elementals, fae, fiends, or undead are present within 1 mile.
Okay.
Well,
That's a long list.
hold on.
You have
Is the jungle considered forest or is it a jungle?
It's a jungle.
So it's an actual jungle, not like just a dense forest.
Yeah, it's like it's a jungle.
Do you know the difference between a jungle and a forest is? That's my. I mean, there is a difference.
Right.
What type of climate are we in? Is this temperate or is this?
I mean, it's hot and humid.
Okay. No. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Because it would have been up to 6 miles if I was in a forest.
Okay. There are.
Well,
The apparitions are on that list. Yeah.
Hold on. Let me see if I can copy and paste this into Discord real quick.
That would help.
There.
Okay. There are. Well, there's a celestial in your camp with you.
Well, yeah.
Named Leon. There is also a fae in your camp with you, named Kia. And there are 2 apparitions just on the outer edge of your mile, but they're behind you. And they're going away from you. So it's like you sense it and then it's gone because they walked out of the mile radius. But there are no undead or fiends or elementals or dragons.
Okay.
All right. Third watch goes smoothly. Everyone wakes up.
Some more inspirational stuff.
Breakfast. More inspiration.
Keep those 10 hit
10
points.
temporary hit points.
You never know when you're gonna need them.
Is this ability called vague inspiration?
I am inspiring you.
Because that's a little more accurate, but it's just called inspirational leader, right there.
4 score and 10 hit points ago.
Nice. So
I'm gonna actually let them know that I sensed an aberration within a mile of our camp at some point last night.
Okay.
So at least we can have that possibility of knowing there could be something else.
That might have just been the Shadow Wolves.
It could have been anything. But I'm just
That's very true.
It's letting them know that there are definitely
aberrations of some sort that were a mile from you.
within at least a mile from us. Could have been even closer at some point before I even used that. So
Right. All right. So now you all know that information. Do you just? I'm curious. Do you say anything to Kia about them being fed?
I tell everybody.
Okay, so you tell everyone that you also sensed a fae and
So none of us actually know she's a fae.
I don't think anyone
they
actually
don't
knows.
even know that they're fae.
I'm gonna keep that to
That's why I
myself.
was asking.
I don't know that the knowledge that I'm actually a celestial is probably something that Leon knows very well.
Right.
Because
He knows it, but not really.
yeah.
Look
See,
at these
I'm
things you know about your party members.
So, no, I'm gonna keep that to myself right now because because Kia has an idea of what she is, but she might not. In a way, to me though, because I did ask, so I do know information now.
Right. You don't be like, by the way, you're fae.
All right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna kind of walk over to Kia and kind of tap her on her shoulder, and I'm like, "We need to go talk real quick."
Oh, okay.
I know the other day I kind of blatantly came out and asked what you were. Like, what are you? And you kind of came, like, you kind of blatantly, like, you responded, like, I really don't know. I don't know what I am. I'm surprised I didn't do this in previous watches, especially in the forest. And I probably would have explained some things differently the other day.
Mhm.
But while on watch, I did a primeval awareness check on the area.
Mhm.
I felt the aberrations, but I also felt a fae right here in camp.
Mhm.
So that might help with a little information, because I couldn't see anything else in camp. And I'm not, like, no, like, we have humans and something else, which we don't know. But maybe that might help you actually realize what you are. Because I got that sense right from your area.
Thank you.
So that might help with some of the things that you're going through and you're realizing.
It might. Thank you for telling me.
And then I slowly but surely, as I think about the other information that I have, walk over to Johan and kind of do the same thing. Kind of tap him on the shoulder.
It was Leon, not Johan.
Sorry, Leon. I was looking at Johan's picture, like, name on the screen.
You're a celestial,
Johan,
Johan.
you're celestial. Wait, what?
I walk over to Leon and do the same thing. I kind of be like, hey, we need to go talk.
Sure thing.
There, from some previous conversations that we have had and that you have talked with, you're not 100% sure what you are.
I know I'm a little less than fully human, if it wasn't obvious.
That is more right than you probably think. Last night, you know how I said that I saw some aberrations. I also sensed a celestial right here in camp.
Interesting.
Since you have 4 humans, and then we're not sure what Kia is, but
Yes.
that might pinpoint where that came from. So
I kind of have a hunch of where that came from.
So, and that's kind of why I'm talking to you about it. So that might also help you with the conversation that we had yesterday on
It
why
explains a little more on my capabilities for
What-
physically trans.
what you can do.
Yeah.
So, giving you that information, I'm hoping that helps you understand yourself
Thank you.
a little more. As weird as I may come off as, I seem to be a little more helpful than I thought I would be on this adventure, especially for your for personal aspects. But
There's always for everything.
it's that might also explain why you were able to understand and read some of those book titles.
Yeah.
In the study.
Yes, that does
So
clarify.
maybe understanding that you are a celestial now can help us somewhere down the line with defeating this thing.
I think it'll be a helpful boon. Figure out its place and utilize it, but I can't see it being ineffective.
And if you want to keep this to yourself, that's up to you. But I will not. I won't tell anybody else unless I will leave that to you to tell them.
I think everybody has a pretty good understanding that I'm maybe not the most human of individuals.
Yeah, but they don't know what you are, though.
Where we could leave it for the most part. If it becomes relevant, then I will fully disclose that I am, yes, indeed, not at all human, which apparently is which I thought would be more revelatory than it is. It clicks. It falls into place and it makes sense.
Well, I'm glad I was able to help.
Thanks.
And I walk away from Leon, and as that thought in my head from the ending of that conversation, I walk back over to Kia, and I just kind of quietly go, I won't tell anybody. That'll be up to you when you're ready to let other people know. So your secret's safe with me.
Thank you for that.
And then I kind of walk away.
Alrighty. And on that note, I'm assuming you all finish up packing and start following Andre again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and you go, and nothing happens, and you, yes, sometimes those are nice to have. Also, I like making very paranoid. Only kidding. So you start to approach these ruins.
Before we get there, I'm gonna use that primeval awareness again.
Okay.
Since it's like it's almost like a free action. Well, it's
right.
not, but since we're not doing anything.
But more or less is.
Yeah.
Right.
Just see, because as we're getting closer to this ruin, it might be a good idea to have a sense of what might be there.
Okay. Yep. So obviously you said the end of a celestial. And something that I know this probably isn't actually how the spell technically works, but this is a homebrew, so I'm making it work this way. Something that
it makes me aware of something present. I don't know what it is. I just know it's there.
Right.
Or within that
something
radius.
That didn't quite come through last night during your watch, because there's something that kind of sets a ping up on your radar, but it's kind of fuzzy. There's something slightly elemental-ish. It's not an elemental, but you're sensing something sort of along the lines of elemental.
Towards the ruins, or which direction?
Also within your party. But it's not quite, you can't quite get a pin on who it is or what exactly it is elemental that you're sensing. And then you do not sense any aberrations anymore. You don't sense anything outside your party.
So I sense something elementalish, like real close.
Yeah.
But I can't figure out who it is.
Right.
Okay.
I'm gonna say make an intelligence roll. See if you can put it together.
An intelligence roll?
Yes.
$17.
So you're not relying on your primeval awareness, but just trying to put two and two together, you realize it's probably Johan. He seems to have a special affinity to lightning.
A special what?
affinity to lightning. And it seems like out of everyone in the party, that would be the most logical. That it would be this this sorcerer who likes to do things related to weather.
Okay. I'm going to keep that information myself for now.
Yep. That's what you get. And as you approach the ruins, Liliana is going to cast Detect Magic. And she says, she just kind of calls out to the party. She says, watch your step. We might want to take this a little bit slowly. I am sensing heavy magical wards and enchantments. So just be aware.
Can I take a? Can we pause for a moment? I might be able to help out with that. I was just like as a side point. It's detect magic is listed as a ritual, but I'm not sure if it's a ritual for sorcerers as well as wizards or not.
Detect magic is usually a cantrip.
No, it's a first level spell, but a lot of things can cast either as rituals or free.
I would say if the spell is, let me look at it. The spell is marked that it can be cast as the ritual. I would be inclined to go with that.
It is marked, so I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
All right. So, I guess if you're sensing something, maybe we could help narrow out the specific. Like, is it everywhere, or let's work that out. So I'll cast detect magic as well as a ritual next. So I'll take out my dagger and start casting magic.
So, is the party okay with stopping for 10 minutes?
That's fine.
I figured we were doing it while we were walking, but
it's a 10-minute duration, but it's only got a 30-foot range.
Oh no, you can do that while walking. I misunderstood that. Sorry.
Yeah, but sorry, who detected that? Actually, you said it was
Liliana.
Yeah. So yeah, I was saying if Liliana could detect it and she's around us, I figured two people can help pinpoint better.
She says, "I'll appreciate all the eyes I could get."
Yeah. So cast it as well.
Okay. So by this point, you're getting about 20 feet from like the ruined gate that's there. And it looks very similar to the gate of the fortress in the glen. So it has all the symbols carved, and then it has the tree kind of in the middle. You definitely can't clearly see all the symbols. There are bits of it that are crumbled and all of that stuff. And we'll say by that point, you've finished casting your ritual spell. The doors are magical, very strong magical essence there. And there's a 30-foot radius. That's all you can tell at this point, is that the doors are magic. And is Liliana going to cast spell magic? Liliana is actually just going to go up to the door and put her hands on it and cast dispel magic. And then light fizzles away, and it is locked. And she says, "Leon, would you mind taking a look at this?"
Actually, I can help with that if you... Oh, wait, no, that's probably a bad idea. Never mind, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't want everyone in 300 feet to know exactly where we are. That's probably a bad idea.
Liliana turns towards you and just kind of, yes, we might want to be a little conservative with that lightning power of yours.
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about lightning. Technically, I was talking about thunder, but similar.
It has a similar effect.
Have we lost Leon?
Leon?
Sorry, I had a conversation. So sorry.
Good. It's all good. Liliana had asked you to see if you could unlock the door.
Oh, I suppose
The
I could do
fortress.
that. I might be good at that. It might be a thing that I can do. Yeah, I guess I'll use my fuse tools and try to open a lock. So is that gonna be...
Do so with advantage, because I can help.
Heck yeah.
I agree with that.
Proficiency. That thing is gonna be... What do these tools usually use?
Sleight of hand, isn't it?
Oh,
I was just
Yeah.
my modifier, so okay.
plus your
So
thieves too.
18.
Okay.
Except proficiency. So.
So you get out your thieves tools and you're feeling like it takes you. You can't quite figure out the mechanism. It seems a little finicky, and then Zagar, who's standing, goes something along the lines of, "Oh, I know what kind of lock this is," and tells you exactly what to do and how to pick it and click, and the gate, and you are all free to walk in.
You see, Leon, there's this woman
Mm-hmm.
in the port of Portsmouth.
Gotcha.
Her husband likes to use a certain kind of lock on the pantry door.
You know, this is a way better context than I was expecting when we started this conversation and began picking this up. And I'm really glad that I know exactly which house you've had to pick your way into. So succeeded.
And I'm
Thank
just
you.
saying, every time I needed a late night snack, I'd go into that pantry and pick the lock because it had the best dried meats.
Perfect.
That was amazing. So, due to this experience of Zagar's in picking this precise type of lock that this gentleman has on his pantry that apparently he's very protective of.
When you have the best
Yeah.
meats in the city.
I know,
True.
but it really irritates his wife that he pays more attention to the meats than he does her.
Are you saying she wishes he looked at her like a slice of meat?
Yeah, I think that would work in this context.
It's actually literal in this case.
It really is. It's very strange. I've never heard anybody say that before.
So, the doors swing open of these ruined fortress that for some reason still has a locked door. And as the door swings open, Johan, you and Liliana both see, so it's like, it looks like at one point this was a great room, similar again to Fortress in the Glen, just this large room that typically has tables set up in it. Usually it leads to the kitchen, and usually there's stairs up to the rest of the fortress. You see on the back, kind of towards the left wall, a set of glowing runes, and that's where we're going to end tonight. So come join us next week for more adventures, figure out what these runes are,
For the runes
where
to
you're
explode
going,
in our
and what you'll
faces.
find. Have a fantastic week, and I hope you will join us all next week.
Bye.
Bye.